Welcome, horror aficionados. Tonight, we will be traversing the dark and mysterious world of the Haunted Mansion. For centuries, this crumbling manor has been shrouded in mystery, a place where the paranormal and supernatural intersect. Come with me as we explore the secrets of this eerie structure and uncover the chilling truth behind the curse of the Haunted Mansion. What creatures lurk in the shadows of this decrepit structure? Are you brave enough to join me in this journey of fear and suspense? Let's find out. Don't forget to turn on the subtitles for an even better experience. The mansion sat perched on a hill overlooking the small town below. Its tall, narrow windows were like empty eyes that seemed to watch over the city with venom. It was a mansion that had long been abandoned, left to decay over time, but the locals still spoke of it in whispers as if it was a living, breathing entity. A curse hung over the mansion, or so the stories went. They said that the mansion's original owner, a wealthy merchant named James Hathaway, had made a deal with the devil to attain his wealth. As a result, the mansion had been cursed, and all those who dared to enter it would suffer a fate worse than death. Over the years, many brave souls had tried to enter the mansion to uncover its secrets, but they all met with the same fate. They were never seen again, and their bodies were never found. Despite the warnings, friends decided to explore the mansion for themselves. They were a curious bunch, and the stories of the mansion had always fascinated them. They made their way up the hill, and as they approached the mansion, they felt a sense of unease settle over them. The front door was old and creaky, but they determinedly pushed it open. The mansion was dimly lit, and the air was thick with dust and the musty smell of old furniture. The walls were lined with portraits of the original owner and his family, and their eyes seemed to follow the group's every move. As they explored the mansion, they began to experience strange occurrences. They heard whispers in the dark, footsteps that seemed to follow them, and doors that opened and closed independently. But they shrugged it off as their imaginations, dismissing the rumors of the mansion's curse as superstition. But as the night wore on, things took a turn for the worse. One of the friends disappeared, and they could hear her screams echoing through the halls. They searched for her, but she was nowhere to be found. As they continued their search, they realized that the mansion was not just haunted but cursed. The walls were covered in strange symbols, and the air was heavy with the stench of decay. They could feel the presence of something sinister lurking in the shadows. Suddenly, they heard a loud bang, followed by creaking floorboards. They followed the noise to a room at the end of the hallway, and as they pushed the door open, they found themselves in a chamber that seemed to be alive with energy. A strange object in the center of the room was a crystal orb that glowed with an otherworldly light. They could hear whispers emanating from the orb, and as they approached it, they felt a sudden surge of energy coursing through their bodies. But the energy was not benign, it was malevolent, and as they watched in horror, the orb began to grow in size, filling the room with an unearthly light. The walls shook, and the floor trembled beneath their feet. At that moment, they realized they had awoken something ancient and terrible. They fled from the mansion, but they knew that the curse of the haunted mansion would follow them forever. In the days that followed, strange things began to happen to them. They saw ghosts in their dreams and heard whispers at night. They could feel the curse of the haunted mansion slowly taking hold of their lives. They tried to move on as time passed, but the curse continued to haunt them. They could feel the presence of the mansion lurking in the shadows, watching them, waiting for them to return. And one day, they did return. They returned to the mansion, drawn back by a force they could not explain. As they made their way up the hill, they could hear the whispers of the curse calling out to them like a siren's song. When they reached the mansion, they found it unchanged. The doors were still old and creaky, the walls were still lined with portraits, and the air was still thick with decay. But there was something different this time. As they entered the mansion, they could feel a sense of hostility that was almost palpable. The whispers grew louder, and they could feel something watching them from the shadows. They went through the mansion, but it differed from the same place they had explored. The walls were covered in strange symbols, and the air was heavy with the stench of death. They found their way to the chamber where the crystal orb had been, but it was nowhere to be found. In its place was a book bound in black leather and covered in strange symbols. They opened the book, and as they read the words inscribed within, they realized the true nature of the curse. The curse was not the devil's work, as they had believed. It was a curse cast by the original owner's wife, a powerful witch her husband had betrayed. The curse had been designed to punish the descendants of James Hathaway for ensuring that they would suffer the same fate as he had. But the curse had grown more robust over time, feeding on the fear and desperation of those who dared to enter the mansion. The friends realized that they were the last descendants of James Hathaway and that the curse was meant for them. They had unknowingly unleashed the curse when they had entered the mansion, and now they were trapped within its grasp. As they read on, they realized that there was only one way to break the curse. They had to find James Hathaway's and his wife's remains and bury them together in a consecrated grave. It was a daunting task, but they knew they had no choice. They left the mansion and searched for the graves, guided by the words in the book. When they found the graves, they dug them up, and as they placed the remains of James Hathaway and his wife together, they felt a sudden release of energy. The curse was broken, and they were free. But the mansion still stood. They knew it would always be haunted. They left the mansion behind, but they could still hear the whispers of the curse calling out to them from the shadows. They knew they would never be free of the curse of the haunted mansion. But they also knew that they had broken it and found a way to move on with their lives, haunted though they may be. As they left the mansion behind, the friends felt a sense of relief wash over them. They had accomplished what they had set out to do and broken the curse that had haunted their family for generations. But the relief was short-lived. They soon realized that the curse had permanently impacted their lives. Nightmares plagued them, and the memories of the horrors they had witnessed in the mansion haunted them day and night. As time passed, they began to distance themselves from each other, unable to bear the weight of their shared memories. They tried to move on with their lives, but they knew they could never truly escape the curse of the haunted mansion. Years passed, and the friends grew old. They passed away one by one, leaving only their memories and the tales of the curse that had haunted their family for generations. But the mansion still stood, and the curse remained. It waited for new victims to enter its walls, drawing them in with whispers and promises of wealth and power. And so the curse continued a never-ending cycle of horror and despair. The mansion remained a symbol of the Hathaway family's downfall, a warning to all who dared to enter its walls. But despite the darkness surrounding the mansion, some still sought its secrets, driven by a need to uncover the truth behind the curse. And so the mansion waited, beckoning to all who dared to enter, its curse ever present, its power unbroken. The curse of the haunted mansion was a force that could never be fully understood or contained, a reminder of the darkness within us all.